Welcome in One Nation to another episode of A Thing or Two, About a Thing or Two podcast. Been a bit of a hiatus, but it's TJ Wingard here with Taylor Herzog. And Taylor, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Taylor, well, let's start with what sport do you play here at Lynchburg, and then also what's your major?
So I'm a senior here at Lynchburg, and I'm on the equestrian team. And then my major is business administration with minors in marketing and digital media arts.
Okay, gotcha. So all pretty closely knit together. And what made you, when you came to Lynchburg, or when you're thinking about what you want to study, what made you want to go in that direction?
So I actually started in sports management because I knew that I wanted to be involved in the equine industry somewhere after I graduated. So I thought that sports management was a good way to test that out a little bit. And I actually decided to move into business administration because I found that it was a little closer to the equine industry than sports management was. So that's where the business administration came from. And then the digital media arts is there because I enjoy photography. So when I graduate, I would like to have a photography business and do some with that. And then marketing, I just added because I had room in my schedule, and in the equine industry, I felt like the marketing minor would help me.
For sure. And we'll talk about the photography side and what you do with LHSN, helping me out, making my life a little easier. But so what exactly do you want to do within the world of like equestrian and after you graduate? Is there any like specific part of that, that bubble, that niche that you're looking to get into?
So I'm trying to figure that out.
Sure.
But I'm actually doing an internship right now at Freedom Farm, and I'm working with just their day-to-day operation of their business. So I'm testing it out a little bit here to get a better idea of where I would like to go in the industry. But while being at college, I've also being on the equestrian team has exposed me to college athletics, and I definitely have an interest in that as well. So trying to find a job somewhere, either in the college athletics world when I graduate, or just in the professional industry, as whether it's coaching or managing a barn or something like that. So
that's awesome. And tell me a little bit about this internship. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? How did it kind of come to fruition? How did you find out about it? Give me all the details.
Yeah, so I actually, Philip, our coach at Lynchburg, he got a message from Peg Seals, who's the rider owner of Freedom Farm, and she texted him and just asked if he knew of anybody who would be willing to help her out at some shows during the summer last year. And he came up and asked me about it, and I was super interested. So I got in contact with her, and I worked for her throughout the summer, and I just met them at a couple shows and helped them at their competitions. And I, of course, heard about their day-to-day stuff, but I wasn't a part of it since I just met them when they traveled. And then we kept in contact throughout the fall semester, and I reached out to them about an internship for the J term, and they were super willing. And I'm here now. They're in Smithfield, Virginia, so about 3 hours away from Lynchburg. And I'm here actually living on site at the barn.
Wow.
So that's been awesome. Yeah, can see all the horses right outside my front door, so it's great.
That is awesome, and it definitely pays to be on Coach Williamson's good side, it seems.
Sure.
So something else you do here on campus is you help out with LHSN. You're part of our photography team. I'd love to know what led to you joining LHSN. How many years ago was it? What have been some of your favorite parts?
Yeah. So when I was looking at Lynchburg, it was actually, I was at a horse show this summer before my senior year of high school, and I met Mr. Waters because he was there with his daughter who was competing. So I had the opportunity to meet him, and he got me in contact with Justine at the time, who was the coach. And so I just learned a little bit more about the program and the school, and in doing that, he asked me, of course, what else I was interested in, and I told him photography, and that led me to LHSN. So he gave me some more information about the program, and I was actually able, when I did my recruiting visit, I was able to actually photograph the men's lacrosse game that was happening that day with Hannah Grassberger. Yeah. So it was a great experience, and of course, it made me want to go to the school even more.
But it gave you a taste of it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so as soon as I came freshman year, I joined the LHSN team and joined the equestrian team and have been doing both for all 4 years, which has been great.
That's awesome. Do you have a particular sport that you like taking photos of the most?
I mean, of course, equestrian, just
Sure.
because I love the sport anyway. But I like baseball just because I have a few friends on baseball, and then lacrosse is also a favorite.
Awesome. Got you. Well, one of the other things I want to ask you about is the way equestrian works. Y'all compete all over the country and against everyone. Like, and I mean, not just like D3 schools, like y'all have had competition against UT Martin. Y'all have had to go toe to toe with Auburn. I mean, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable, and it's really, really cool in that regard. But that also leads to y'all going all over the country, which I can only imagine probably strains a little bit more stress on your shoulders for when it comes to trying to make sure your schoolwork's done. So how do you try to balance that workload that comes your way with, hey, we're on the road, I'm gone all weekend, have to compete, but I also need to make sure, hey, I got the academic side of it all taken care of?
Yeah, so my freshman year, I came in and I knew that I was going to be busy with doing LHSN and the team right off the bat. So I talked to my advisor at the time, and we kind of strategically planned out my schedule,
Sure.
and it set me up so I was able to take some major classes to like get my toes wet, see if I liked the sports management stuff. And then just time management wise and stuff, I think if I remember correctly, I had all of my classes in the morning, so it was from like 8 to 12 and I was done.
Sure.
So in the afternoon I could go to practice and make sure I have enough time for homework, and then work some LHSN games when I have time. So just strategically planning out my schedule, I was able to continue to do that throughout the years I've been here. And so it's been really great just in that aspect. And then also, I mean, I'm just I'm motivated to keep my schoolwork up, so putting in the extra study hours and prioritizing my work. So I might get ahead in one class one week and
Sure.
catch up the next week, and just whatever needs to be done, I've adjusted. So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Good on you for having the forethought, but also just like the motivational drive within yourself. And then one other thing I wanted to ask you. So I have a couple of family members who have had horses, and they have, done similar things, and they love it. But one of the things they always mention is you have to have a relationship with the horse. So that's one other thing that I think is a part of being a part of the equestrian team. Basketball players going up and talking to the basketball and making sure that it's, on the same page with them, that knock down more shots. You'll see a baseball player talking to their glove. Well, you might, but that's because they're weird. But that aside, what does it, how do you go about making sure you have that relationship with a horse, and I'm sure it takes time out of your schedule to try to maintain and keep that to where when you compete, two of y'all are in sync, right?
yeah, for sure. So I mean, I started riding in 2007, and since I was little, I just enjoyed being out at the barn and meeting all the different horses. And so I've always spent a whole lot of time out there, and it's just like my happy place. I enjoy it. So coming to Lynchburg and having all the different horses that we ride all the time, we don't ride the same horse every
Sure.
practice. So I mean, we have tons of practices, and just being at the barn a whole lot has helped with getting to know all of the horses. But I've also like gone to other practices and watched other people ride, and that's also a huge learning experience too, just watching your peers ride and your teammates. So that helps you get to know the horse as well. And then just hanging out at the barn and stuff, there's a lot of like care that we do for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have what's called care horses, and at the beginning of the year it goes by seniority, but we pick which horse we want to like take care of for the semester pretty much. And every time we go out to the barn, we put eyes on that horse and just make sure they look good and healthy and clean. And if they need to have like their mane trimmed up or their whiskers or whatever needs to be done, we're the ones to do it for that horse.
Gotcha.
And last January, we got this horse named Ruby, and I've taken a liking to her. And she's a little feisty at times, which she's not everybody's favorite for that reason, but
Sure.
I've been able to form a connection with her, and just the care horse aspect helps with that, just always being the one to interact with that horse and sharing that with your teammates and stuff, and then just spending more time out at the barn and taking them to eat some grass or something when you're not riding, and just spending some extra time loving on them. So
yeah, and that's such an interesting part of what it takes to be a part of the team. And I get it's one more thing in your schedule, which you're clearly not busy enough. So one more element in there. Well, Taylor, thank you so much again for taking the time. Any final thoughts, anything else you wanted to share?
No, I appreciate you having me. It was great talking to you.
Oh, awesome. The pleasure was mine. So thank you again for joining me. Till next week, when we have a new episode of A Thing or Two About a Thing or Two, be sure to come back for that new episode. For Taylor Herzog, my name is TJ Wingert. Till next time, we are signing off.